Hey guys, in today's video I want to pick up my testimonial where we left off. And in this video I'll be talking about an incident that occurred in which I was hit over the head with a baseball bat. Stay tuned. So I had kind of turned my back on my religious faith and I was exploring Buddhism, but the Buddhist groups had shut down, and I was kind of getting wrapped up in a really bad lifestyle. I was mostly interested in just partying and drinking and, trying to sleep around and just have a good time. I was thinking more or less like an atheist and really negative in a lot of ways. And this really kind of came to a head. I remember I was going to a party at a friend's house, and, I was kind of on the fence as to whether I should go to this party or not. And I remember I thought, well, I could stay home, or I could go to this party, or I could go out to the club and see if I can't meet some girls that way. And I remember sitting on the couch, and I remember it was really odd because I felt as if my whole emotional space almost kind of cleared out. I don't know how to explain that. But it was it was really as if I felt as if this was for some reason an important choice that I had to make. And I thought, well, it doesn't seem very important. I mean, I'm just... I'm deciding whether I want to stay home, go to this house party, or go to a nightclub. And I thought, this feels important. So I thought, I'll take the Buddhist path and I'll take the middle way. Because I thought, well, if I go to a nightclub by myself, I don't know what could happen. If I stay home, well, that's kind of boring. I'll take the Buddhist path and I'll take the middle way. I'll go to the house party, right? I wasn't taking it seriously. It was sort of just for some reason, I felt intuitively like this was a really important decision. So I went to this party, and it was a buddy of mine. He was having kind of a wine drinking party. Some friends of ours had made some homemade wine. And these guys came in. No one really knew them. They were like a distant friend of somebody. And they started bossing everybody around and demanding alcohol. And my buddy, he was pretty drunk at the time. I was the only sober one in the house, so I kind of felt the obligation to sort of, run the show a little bit. And I told him, I said, you guys need to get the hell out of here. I mean, this, you don't come into this house and start telling us what to do. Like, who do you guys think you are? So I told him to get the hell out, kind of chased him out, and that seemed to be the end of it. So we all had a few more drinks, and I passed out on the couch and went to sleep. And then middle of the night, I was woken up by this banging at the door. And I thought, what the hell is this? So I kind of got up, and I looked through the window, and I could see it was these damn kids, these guys that had been at the house. They were younger than us. They must have been no more than 18. There were 3 of them. And I thought, oh, whatever. And Mike, he came downstairs and opened the door. Well, they pushed him inside, threw him basically down the stairs, and I got up to confront him, and one of the guys came in through the door, and before I even had a chance to get up off the couch, he knocked me over the head with a baseball bat. And I've still got scar up here on this side of my head from it. So I was knocked out, knocked unconscious. And the next thing I remember is kind of waking up and thinking, man, why am I so wet? That was my first thought. I'm like, what? Why am I just soaking wet? And I opened my eyes and I realized that I was wet because I was covered in blood. And I looked around, and my buddy, he was yelling and putting on a big show. I guess what had happened is after I got knocked out, he came up from the stairs, and they tried to go after him with a baseball bat. Fortunately, one of his dogs came in and grabbed a hold of the guy, and they were outside. One of them took off running. The other one went through the house, stole a laptop, ransacked some stuff, and the one guy, he had his arm all ripped up from the dog, and my buddy, he was beating the piss out of the other one. And so it was a hell of a mess. And when I woke up, I was covered in blood, so I went to the washroom. I started to clean up. And, next thing I know, somebody's calling the cops. Cops show up. And the cops, they basically said, you're going in an ambulance. We're not giving you a choice, right? So I knew I had to go to the hospital. I knew I needed stitches. But they said, yeah, you got to take an ambulance. So I got in the ambulance, went to the doctor, and I think it was 32 stitches that he gave me. I mean, I probably didn't need that many stitches. It was a gouge that ran about this length. They sent me in for scans. They didn't find any fractures, no skull fractures. So, but he did say that I had a pretty severe concussion. So he says, just be careful and keep an eye on it. So, I went home after that, and at the time, I thought of myself as a pretty kind of, I don't know, like a badass, right? I was a tough guy. And this really was a difficult situation for me because on the one hand, I had sort of my tough guy persona that I'd been cultivating over the last few years. And I thought, well, if I'm gonna just let this happen, what does that say about me, right? I got to take revenge on these guys. I got to go and I got to take them out. I got to either beat the piss out of them or kill them or do something, right? I can't just let this go. But I realized that if I was going to do that, that would mean that I was permanently turning my back on the spiritual path that I had been pursuing for so many years prior. I knew that religion had a place for violence, but taking a personal vendetta like this against somebody was just not, it was not compatible with what I had been taught as a Christian, as a Buddhist. And so I was faced with this decision where it was like, okay, either I am going to seek revenge on these guys and turn my back on religion once and for all, or I'm going to let this thing go. But I couldn't let it go. I mean, how could I just let this go? I mean, these guys came into my friend's house, smashed me over the head with a baseball bat. You don't just let that go, okay? I had a personal, I got to do something about this. And it was around that same time, I'm struggling to make a choice. The cops, they eventually did track down two of the guys. And, my cousin, she calls me the one day, and she says, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I had a really creepy dream the other night. And I'm going, okay, well, what was your dream about? And she says, well, in the dream, you were on the way to a family reunion and you had a new girlfriend with you. And you got into a car accident and you died. She says, so I would just kind of give you a heads up, be careful. It was a really vivid and real dream. And I'm thinking to myself, holy hell, this is bad news, man. What's going on? I get hit in the head with a baseball bat. My cousin's dreaming about me dying, and I wasn't in a very good situation otherwise. So I knew then and there that I was at a crossroads, that this was really, I had to make a decision, that when I had first kind of walked away from the church, right, I turned away from God, and I talk about that in one of my videos. I'll post a link. But, I knew at that time that I felt really good about leaving religion, but it felt as if now all of the negative behavior, all of the sins that I had committed between now and then had piled up, and I was now paying the price for the things I'd done. And it scared the hell out of me. I got to be honest with you. I was really worried. And so this was the time that I made the decision to really start pursuing the unconscious in a really persistent way, because I was genuinely afraid for my life. And when I started to do that, when I started to really push into my dreams and to push into altered states of consciousness, I had this mounting feeling like it was starting to make sense. Religion was all starting to make sense. And I felt as if I was almost being stalked or watched, or, something bad was going to happen to me because I knew too much, maybe. I had pursued an understanding of religion, and I felt as if I had almost really grasped it. But I also felt that I was in mortal danger as a consequence of this. And it was a strange intuition. I mean, I had a lot of different weird feelings and weird things going on at this time. And in the next video, I'll kind of share with you guys, where this all ended up. And the next video is going to be quite long, and it's very difficult for me to talk about. And so for that reason, I probably won't record a video. I'll just do an audio recording. It was a very, very traumatic experience. But this is, we're coming to the end of this testimonial series. So if you've made it this far, you guys, thanks for watching. And please remember to subscribe and stay tuned.